Hello, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about Innocent Souls Lost, Gaza's Children Under Fire, a story that is painful, urgent, and deeply human, and one that demands careful attention, compassion, and honesty. This video is not about statistics alone, even though numbers matter. It is about children whose lives are shaped by fear, loss, and uncertainty, long before they understand what those words mean. Gaza is one of the most densely populated places on Earth. Within its narrow borders live millions of people, and nearly half of them are children. This fact alone changes how we must understand everything that happens there. Children in Gaza are born into a reality where the sound of drones and explosions can be as familiar as traffic noise elsewhere. For many of them, danger is not an exception but a constant background presence. When violence escalates, children are often the most vulnerable. They have no control over political decisions, military strategies, or historical conflicts, yet they bear some of the heaviest consequences. Innocent Souls Lost is not just a title. It reflects the lives interrupted, dreams erased, and futures altered by forces far beyond a child's control. Many children in Gaza have never known a time without conflict. Their earliest memories may include air raids, destroyed homes, and the fear in their parents' eyes. For a child, safety is supposed to be simple. It should mean home, family, school, and play. In Gaza, these basic ideas are repeatedly shattered. Schools, which should be places of learning and hope, are often closed or damaged. Education becomes irregular, interrupted by violence, power outages, and displacement. When schools are destroyed, children lose more than classrooms. They lose routine, stability, and a sense of normal life that is essential for healthy development. Homes are not always safe either. Many families have been forced to flee multiple times, carrying what little they can while trying to protect their children from trauma. Imagine being a child who does not know if their home will still be standing tomorrow. That kind of uncertainty leaves deep emotional scars. Healthcare for children in Gaza is another major concern. Hospitals are often overwhelmed, under-resourced, and damaged by ongoing conflict. Children who are injured may face long delays in treatment, and those with chronic illnesses often struggle to receive consistent care. The psychological impact on children is immense. Fear, anxiety, nightmares, and depression are common among young people living under constant threat. Mental health support is limited, and many children suffer in silence because there are not enough professionals or safe spaces to help them heal. Parents try their best to protect their children, but they too are traumatized. When adults are overwhelmed, it becomes even harder to shield young minds from harm. Loss is a recurring theme in many children's lives. Some lose parents, siblings, or friends. Others lose their homes, schools, or sense of belonging. Grief at such a young age can be confusing and overwhelming. Children may not have the words to express their pain, but it shows in their behavior and emotions. Play, which is essential for childhood, often becomes limited. Outdoor spaces may be unsafe, and even simple games can be interrupted by fear. Yet, despite everything, children in Gaza continue to show resilience. They find ways to laugh, to imagine, and to hope, even in the darkest moments. This resilience should not be misunderstood as acceptance. Children adapt because they must, not because the situation is acceptable or normal. One of the most heartbreaking aspects is the normalization of violence. When children grow up expecting danger, it reshapes their understanding of the world. They may draw pictures of tanks instead of trees, or talk about explosions as casually as others talk about weather. The long-term consequences of this upbringing are profound. Trauma experienced in childhood can affect mental health, relationships, and opportunities later in life. Entire generations risk growing up with unresolved pain, anger, and fear, which can perpetuate cycles of suffering. International law recognizes children as civilians who deserve special protection during conflict. Yet in Gaza, these protections often feel distant and ineffective. Each child harmed represents a failure to uphold basic human values. It is a reminder that political conflicts have deeply personal costs. Media coverage often focuses on numbers and headlines, but behind every statistic is a child with a name, a family, and dreams. A single casualty is not just a number. It is a life story cut short and a family forever changed. Innocent Souls Lost asks us to slow down and truly see these children, not as symbols but as human beings. It challenges viewers to move beyond political sides and focus on the universal value of a child's life. No child chooses where they are born. No child chooses conflict. Yet geography can determine whether a child grows up in safety or fear. Children in Gaza are often aware of the outside world through limited media or conversations. They know that other children live differently. This awareness can bring confusion and sadness. Questions arise about fairness, justice, and why their lives are so constrained. Basic necessities like clean water and electricity are not guaranteed. Interruptions affect hygiene, nutrition, and overall health. Malnutrition is a serious concern, especially for young children whose bodies and brains are still developing. When food is scarce or inconsistent, it impacts growth, concentration, and immune systems, making children even more vulnerable. Parents often skip meals so their children can eat, adding to the emotional and physical strain on families. Displacement is another recurring reality. Some children have moved multiple times, never feeling truly settled. Living in temporary shelters or crowded conditions increases stress and exposes children to additional risks. Privacy becomes rare and personal space almost non-existent, which affects emotional well-being. For adolescents, the challenges are different but equally severe. Growing up under constant pressure can affect identity and self-esteem. Teenagers may struggle with feelings of hopelessness, wondering what kind of future is possible for them. Opportunities for higher education and employment are limited, creating frustration and despair. Despite these obstacles, many young people in Gaza express a strong desire to learn, to contribute, and to build a better life. Their determination highlights the tragedy even more. Potential is abundant, but opportunities are scarce. Innocent Souls Lost is also about responsibility. It asks who is accountable when children suffer in conflict zones. It raises questions about global priorities and the effectiveness of international responses. Humanitarian organizations work tirelessly to provide aid, education, and psychological support, often at great risk. Their efforts save lives, but they cannot replace the need for lasting solutions that prioritize civilian protection. The suffering of children should never be a side effect accepted as inevitable. It should be a red line that demands action. Silence and indifference allow suffering to continue. Awareness is a first step, but it must lead to empathy and responsibility. This story is difficult to watch and even harder to live, but looking away does not make it disappear. When we acknowledge the pain of Gaza's children, we affirm their humanity and our shared moral duty. Every child deserves a childhood free from fear, violence, and loss. This is not a political statement, but a human one. Innocent Souls Lost reminds us that behind every conflict are lives that cannot be restored once taken. The children of Gaza are not statistics or symbols. They are sons, daughters, students, and dreamers. Their laughter, when it happens, is an act of defiance against despair. Their tears are a call for compassion. As viewers, we are not powerless. Understanding, sharing, and supporting humanitarian efforts can make a difference. Even small actions, like learning and speaking with care, help keep these children from being forgotten. The future of Gaza is deeply tied to the well-being of its children. Protecting them means protecting the possibility of peace. A generation raised in safety is more likely to build understanding than one raised in fear. This is why stories like Innocent Souls Lost matter. They force us to confront uncomfortable truths. They remind us that every life has equal value, regardless of borders or politics. As this video comes to a close, the reality it presents continues for many children. Their days do not end when the screen goes dark. Their struggles persist beyond this moment. Remember their faces, their voices, and their right to a life of dignity and safety. Let this not be just another video watched and forgotten. Let it be a reminder that innocent souls deserve protection, compassion, and peace.